All right, what is going on, guys? Christian from the Lay and Pray MMA podcast, as always, joined by Trenton and Jeffrey. What's up, guys?
How's it going? Hey.
And we have a special guest this week, Randy King. He is a reality-based self-defense instructor, podcaster, author, and dad. I'm literally reading your Facebook bio, by the way. No big deal.
What it's for, right?
I know, seriously. He is the owner and head coach at 80/20 Conflict Management Strategies, and you're the host of three different podcasts right now? Is that correct? Yeah. And a co-host?
Yeah, we do a few of them. I like to talk, so podcasting seems to be a good way for me to do that. Sure. Yeah, so pretty much right now, all we're doing is the Devil's Advocate for Self-Defense podcast, and then just Randy King Live With. But I have a bunch out there.
Yeah, you had a WTF just happened. Is that what it's called? WTF just happened?
WTF is the What the Fuck Was I Thinking podcast.
Well, that's what it was. Okay.
Yeah. And so that one's about people in dangerous situations, because as a full-time education-based, reality-based self-defense coach, there's so much bravado and bullshit of everybody saying how invincible they are and all their losses are like a loss, but wink, I'm still cool. And so I thought it would be really neat to have experienced people tell stories where they straight fucked up. And, and then say so these professionals are messing up. Maybe don't put so much pressure on yourself as a civilian when you mess up in a similar situation.
Gotcha. All right. Yeah. So I know Randy from a week long. He was one of my CT instructors during a police academy. So got to meet him for a week, and cool guy. And now we're coming back together, and it's been 5-6 years now. And here we are. So.
Yeah.
And then today's episode, we're on episode number 8. So we're already 8 episodes in. Today, the big topic is going to be UFC 264 with, the headline, Dustin Poirier and Conor McGregor 3. So I'm super pumped about that. Besides that, we've got a couple other things to jump into. The first thing was the Nevada State Athletic Commission not disciplining for marijuana anymore. Randy, I don't know what. I'm pretty sure in Canada it's almost fully legalized, correct?
It definitely is, and I definitely partake. So
yeah, attaboy.
Yeah, no, it's. I think this is a good move. If you look at the controversy right now, I know it's not MMA, but with the sprinter who I forget her name, but she's the fastest woman in the world.
Yeah.
Who smokes pot. If you're the fastest woman in the world and you smoke pot, you should get 2 medals. Number one, not be disqualified. I smoke one joint, I can't walk upstairs. This person's crushing records. I think the Nevada State Commission's move is going to be the move that a lot of places make. Anybody that says marijuana is a performance-enhancing drug has not had marijuana. Yeah. It does not increase performance unless you're, a competitive eater or something. I don't think it's really
Joey Chestnut. Trying to eat all them hot dogs
at all times.
Yeah, Trent and Jeffrey, what are your guys' thoughts on this?
I agree. I think it's a good move, and I hope other athletic commissions follow suit, and hopefully it forces them to do it quicker too. I hope it doesn't take as long as I hope it doesn't have to take.
Yeah. So. Jeffrey?
Yeah, same. I think this is going to be the beginning, Every time a state comes out and does something like this, there's other states that follow. Here in America, you just seen that with the NCAA, the states started making their own laws, and then they couldn't control it anymore, so everybody just followed suit. They were forced. Their hand was forced. So I think that's going to do the same thing.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest proponents in this is really we have to thank the Diaz brothers in the grand scheme of things, because look at what Nick went through with, he got a 5-year suspension. But essentially, it's a lifetime ban, because you look at where he was. His last fight was against Anderson Silva when Anderson was still kind of relevant.
Yeah, it was 2015 or something.
Yeah. And so it's one of those things where I want to thank the Diaz brothers, because they still stuck true to who they were, and whether they were up there smoking CBD. Then CBD became a huge part of the UFC. They were sponsored by CBD companies and stuff. And then the last pay-per-view card, you had Nate and Nick both up there smoking joints at at the pre-press conference and the post-press conference.
Yeah.
So it's like, you know what? Hey man, you guys do you, but that's a good point in terms of this is just the start. I think obviously I think it's going to get to a point where federally it's going to be legalized in the United States, and then it's just not even going to be a issue anymore. Eventually the athletic commissions, they're going to have to just follow suit and be like, you know what, this shit's legal everywhere, so let's just say fuck it. Florida, you know, that's one of the bigger athletic commissions. California, it's obviously legal in California, and then New York is another big one. Go ahead.
I think that if they don't, they're just going to fall behind money wise. And we all know that this is all a money grab, right? Because everybody's just going to want to fight in Vegas. Then you're not going to be able to sell in these other states. Right. So the longer they wait on this, the bigger hit financially they're going to take. So I expect people to come out quick. Yeah,
big time. Yeah, I think, well, you look at some bigger draws. I mean, just the other day I saw a video of Connor lighting a joint, whether it was from, you know, months ago but obviously Connor, he loves Las Vegas. That's another incentive to go back to Vegas. Nate Diaz, if you think he's going to fight anywhere else, you're out of your fucking mind, because he's not going to pay a commission any money. He'll just say, fucking, I'm done. I'm not going to fight anymore.
And like Randy said, like, what great optics for the commission to come out at the peak of this when that sprinter, you know, did that, because that's a hot topic and people are very upset about that.
They are. And it's crazy to me too, because like outside of her other views that I don't agree with, her mom died and she smoked a joint about it. Like, oh, how dare she be a human being? Like, it's not like she was like ripping it and like driving around and causing trouble. Like, her mom died and she needed to deal with that. And so I think as a former bouncer, I honestly, like, it baffles me that pot is illegal and alcohol is legal. Like, the amount of shit that people get into when they're drunk versus people just like eating munchies on their couch. Like, and if you're like a government control proponent, making pot legal is the best way to make people chill. Right. So I don't like, it's just all wins, I think. And also like the money thing too, right? Yeah. Like the money thing, both for Vegas, but also for like the country. Like, you know how much Canada's pulling in pot tax dollars?
Oh, fuck. The state of Alaska, as soon as we legalized pot here, the whole state was very hesitant when it got passed. They were like, well, I guess we'll just see how much money we make. After 1 month, it was like over $250,000 in just from taxes. And that was off of a few
off at all the road work.
Yeah, seriously. So it's like, fuck, I'm down with it. I mean, I live in the only state in the United States where we get paid to live here. So
right.
I mean, it's kind of like a hard thing to beat. But I'm hoping that this is a good start. It trends in, you know, the right direction. We get more states involved, some of the larger commissions, the larger athletic commissions, and good on Nevada. I mean, for being it's mostly Las Vegas. It's not like people go to Reno to watch, you know, fights, but.
And if anybody is going to do this, it's Vegas. You know, I mean, they have everything else legals there.
Town full of fucking centers and prostitutes and
when you can go somewhere and start a prostitute trading card collection, like, pot should be legal there too, probably, right? Like...
All right. Well, you know, just staying on the topic of the Diaz brothers, Nick said he wants to come back after he met with Dana, and Dana went back and he's like, you know, it doesn't seem like he wants to. Then he met with Nick again and he's like, you know what? He sounds like he's motivated and ready to do this. And yesterday it was announced that they're in the talks of Robbie Lawler versus Nick Diaz. So a fight that's 17 or 18 years in the making, you know, since the first fight. Yeah. Back when Rory was just a baby, had hair on top of his head. I'm super pumped. I really think that that's a good welcome back fight for Nick. I think it's going to be a tough fight because Robbie's still a savage, but hell of a fight.
I think it's going to come down to ring rust. Like, Diaz really hasn't fought since 2015. Lawler fought in 2020, right? So, and Lawler's no slouch. And what's the biggest trait of the Diaz brothers, like after all the memes, after Nate was like getting destroyed and almost knocked that guy out in the final round.
Leon.
Yeah. The Diaz brothers are like, you know, they need 10-round fights. Their thing is toughness. And Lawler isn't short on toughness,
No.
and he also is more current in the sport. So I don't know if it's a good comeback fight, right? Like,
Yeah.
why we'll talk about this later, but why is Sean O'Malley getting fed some no-name kid, but Diaz is going against Lawler? Like, it seems more like a spit in his face than anything. Like, give him a warm-up fight, guys.
Yeah. I think just real quick, just to comment on that before Trent and Jeffrey, before you guys jump in there. One of the things that so we got Jake Shields, who's a training partner with the Diaz brothers. He said that he doesn't think that Nate's going to come out of retirement unless it's a big name to come back against. Like, he doesn't want to just fight nobodies, because in the, like, really, it's not worth him coming out of retirement after a 4 or 5 year suspension, which he still, I brought up, do you guys think he's going to get compensated for it? And Jeffrey was like, not a fucking chance.
No fucking way.
which sucks, but oh well. Yeah, so I think the biggest thing is that Nick just wanted a big name fight. He didn't want to just come out of retirement for nobody. So,
well, when you're Nick Diaz and you do a comeback fight, you don't have, I mean, you're 50% of the draw, maybe 70% of the draw, because it's such a big name. But you got to have somebody else there to fight. If you go throw him against some no-name guy and he puts up a shit performance, then, and he's not going to make that much money, and it didn't really make him look good, because he struggled against a young up and comer or some shit like that. But you throw him against Robbie Lawler, who's a guy that's been in the game for a long time and he has already lost to Nick, then that brings in more money. There's already attention to it because it's a rematch, and he's going to make more money than he would if he fought some no-name dude. So let's just, I think he's smart by doing it. That also, Robbie Lawler is a name that I didn't consider, because I just automatically assumed if he comes back, it's got to be
Jorge. Yeah, we were thinking Jorge because, the bad motherfucker belt that Nate and Jorge fought each other again.
Yeah.
With that being said, I do like this fight though.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things I didn't consider. Like, he is kind of at the end of his career, so if he's going to come back, it does make sense he's doing a big name fight. I changed my position on it because I was thinking more like if he wants to keep fighting, but maybe he doesn't. Maybe he just wants to do a couple big name fights, get some paydays, and go home. So that's a very good point.
Yeah, I don't think he's going for like a title run, or maybe in his head he is, but in my head, I think he's looking for a couple big payday checks. That
motherfucker probably still has taxes that he still owes from years back when he owed hundreds of thousands of dollars because he never paid taxes. So he's probably like, fuck, dude, Nate, let me borrow some money, borrow some Skrilla. Now I need to go make my own. So,
yeah, I think this fight's good, man.
Hey guys,
I think it's a.
Sorry, Jeffrey. I gotta cut you off real quick. My dogs have squeaky toys, so I'll be right back.
Okay. All right, cool. Yeah, I like this a lot, dude. I think that it makes more sense than the Masvidal. To me, I think the Masvidal fight was good because it was like a fresh name, and we had Nate fight him, and then Nate loves himself some Nick, so it's natural for Nick to avenge that loss, right? But I think if you beat him, dude, that sets you up for that bigger fight, Yeah. And I think this is a gauge too to see how big of a draw Nick still really is.
Yeah.
Right. And you're right. Lawler could be seen as a gatekeeper. Like, people know he's established that he's tough. He's established that he's hard to beat. So like you said, right, if he tools some up and comer, who cares? But if he shows he still has it against somebody like a Robbie Lawler, somebody tough, somebody gatekeeper, then yeah, maybe that does reignite his career. So maybe the risk is worth it.
And you know what? Even if he loses, they still got a bunch of pay-per-views just from this one fight. So they got their use out of Nick.
Right.
I think
and Masvidal's still fresh. He's still like what, number
I think he's like number 4.
Like number 4 in the world.
I think he's number 4.
You bring a guy that's been sitting on
number 3.
Well, not really sitting on the couch because he does triathlons and stays in shape and everything.
He's fucking ripped, dude.
But a guy that hasn't fought in 6+ years or whatever the hell to come back against a number 4 dude in the world, like that's a big ask as well, Like
we would be stupid if we clearly he's been training. I mean, Nate hasn't been super active, but I'm sure Nick is his main training partner. And so he's still staying active. I mean, the guy's a goddamn triathlete, like you said. And yeah, I'll say this, though, in terms of gatekeeping, I also doubted Matt Brown, and he fucking demolished Diego Lima and knocked him the fuck out. So that's the reason why, in terms of age, I always talk about age, but I'm just never going to doubt old people anymore. Like, it's not an old person bias. I'm not, or, a young person bias, but at the same time, it's like, obviously some of these younger guys they're just going to perform better because they don't have the aches and pains and slow reaction speed and reaction time that some of these other guys do. So,
and that may be true for Nick too. Nick may have less body wear now,
Yeah.
even at his old age, he might
Yeah.
look fresh,
Yeah. So I guess that concludes that topic. The next one that we had in mind was Dana White clarified some of the issues that he had with Ngannou's management. That was something on episode 7. It was just the episode that Trent and I did together. We talked about Francis Ngannou's management. I think his name is Markel Martin. That's his main manager, but there's a team of guys that are managing him. It's not just one guy. There's multiple people. And so Dana had an issue with one of those guys, but it wasn't Markel Martin, who he was going back and forth with over social media. It was another guy. And it basically what it comes down to is they had some sort of an agreement. Based on an interview that Dana did with Brett Okamoto from ESPN. He said there was an agreement that we made and they went against that agreement. And that's the reason why I said what I said. And that's the reason why I was pissed off. That's why I was upset. And he's like, dude, if you want to go out of the country and go wherever the fuck and do whatever the fuck you want to do, then by all means do it. But at the same time, we've got a business to run and we put on fights and we're going to continue to put on fights. I don't care that you have an issue with an interim title. We're not stripping you. So it's not like I'm taking away everything. You're still getting paid like the champ, but you got to fight in order to get paid. So obviously what we have had discussed and my viewpoint on it is I don't give a shit about a Cyril Gane and Derek Lewis fight. I don't care. That fight is not going to be good in my opinion. I don't think their styles match up to make a good fight, but I do think that, this is just the next stepping stone to getting Derek Lewis or Cyril Gane versus Francis Ngannou. So we just got to get it out of the way. Yeah. So I don't know if you guys had any thoughts in reference to that, or if you guys had heard anything or seen anything.
I don't know the agreement that they had that they're conflicting over or whatever.
It was basically that Francis would be ready by September. That's my understanding.
The only thing that irritates me about it is, like I said, he won it 3 months ago and they're making an interim title already. Like, they still could have had this fight without the interim ramifications on it and just made it a number 1 contender fight. To me, it's a little disrespectful to the champ because you're throwing an interim title on there just to bring hype or to make Francis kind of, react to it or something.
Force him into a decision.
Or something, because it was 3 months ago that he won. Like, that's not even that long. Like, give him 3 months off, 4 months off, and then let him fight somebody. But it is what it is still. But
why did it end up? Sorry, I'm behind on this a little bit. Why did it end up being an interim title? Didn't he beat Stipe, who was the
no? So he won the undisputed championship against Stipe.
Yes,
Francis did. But right now, because I don't know if there's some undisclosed injury that or something, but I have Francis. I follow him on Instagram. Motherfucker's posting all the time on Instagram.
Yeah,
and it looks like he's training. So he must not have had surgery, but there must be something else. There must be and I think it's.
I see. I'm caught up now. So it's not his title that's on the line. There might be
it's just
an interim. Until he's back.
Until
but he only won 3 months ago, and then so it's like, why would you make an interim when he's the champ right there and he looks like he's ready to go?
Yeah,
my thoughts on this thing.
Hype train.
Yeah.
My thoughts on this thing are just this is what the UFC does. They have a history of making stupid interim belts.
Heavyweight all the time. Heavyweight all the fucking time too.
Yeah. So even though it is annoying, and even though it's probably a strategy by the UFC in order to force Francis's hand into a fight earlier than he wants,
or for
Right.
less money.
or for less money.
Right.
But I mean, this is what they do. He's still the champion. They're not stripping him. And then this just makes it clear who the number one contender is. It should be a number one contender fight. Call it, temporary, whatever. I don't care. It's stupid that you did it, but whatever.
It,
Yeah,
it
it's
may
just a
also
film.
be a way for the UFC to pay Francis what he wanted, because now they're going to try to sell the fight as here's the
Champ
heavyweight
versus champ.
versus a champ
The interim
versus champ
heavyweight.
fight. Yeah. So maybe it brings more eyes to the pay-per-view, and then they're like, all right, so here's a little bit more money for you because this is what you wanted. So maybe that's another way of looking at it.
But when you
And
look
also,
at
they
it,
could give him this fight, man, as a tune-up. Because look, if anybody's going to beat Francis right now, it's going to be Cyril Gane, right? Like,
probably.
I think so. I think
Yeah, I
Cyril
think
Gane
so.
has and also he's trained with Francis. Obviously, Francis is a way different animal now than he was,
mhm.
when he was back in France. Because back then, all he had was, one round,
Yeah.
and he was gonna murder you.
Yeah.
But now he has developed like takedown defense, which we're not gonna watch Cyril Gane do takedowns. He's
some cardio.
yeah.
Part of me hopes, I know this isn't true, but part of me hopes this is the UFC learning its lesson, because they have a very bad habit of feeding their up and comers to these sharks very early and then ruining that their ascension,
Yeah.
you know? So hopefully this is them like taking a step back and saying, okay, this is him. This is our future champ. Let's not rush him in there. Let's give him a fight. And Derek Lewis isn't a punk,
Yeah.
No.
So if he beats Derek, then he's got one more fight with a big fighter, and then maybe he'll be ready.
Yeah. Go ahead, Randy.
I think this is a symptom of the major like sickness with the UFC, which is they're great at marketing, but they're not good at solidifying the actual rankings in sport, right?
Mhm.
Yep.
So they're walking that fine line between legitimate sport and circus fight kind of thing, like where boxing's a little bit going right now. And I think this is another symptom of that is, let's do an interim title. The guy won 3 months ago. Like, I know, I get it. Most of the world has ADHD, sure, but even 3 months isn't that long, right? Like we can wait. But again, like you said, if they're trying to get Ngannou's pay structure up, this is a great way to hype it up. So the UFC is very good at hyping fights. They're just not really good at consistency and ranking. And I think that's one of the biggest holes in their game. And this is a perfect example of that problem.
Especially since the sell.
Yeah. Oh God. Yeah. Especially
$4 billion. But that's because it's new ownership. And, you had the Fertittas and Dana before, and they had been doing this shit for over 20 years. So they know what to
purists.
do. And but now you got these other people that all they care, like, this is a large group of owners.
Yeah.
So
they don't care about fighting. They're not martial artists.
No, they give a shit about the payday.
Fund. Yeah, exactly. Right.
So the way that I look at it, and this is what I don't want it to turn into, is I don't want it to turn into fucking boxing where I don't give a shit if you're the WBC, WBA, WBO, LMNOP, fucking, I don't care that you're that boxing champ. I don't care. Like in the grand scheme of things, there's too many. I don't care if you're the interim champ because you're not the champion. That's the reason why you got guys like Justin Gaethje who's like, this isn't the real belt. I want the real belt. You got guys like Dustin.
How are those things not unified yet? Should they?
Right?
There's so many fucking belts. They've got to be unified, right?
Well, that's the reason why you've got all Tyson Fury has to do is beat Anthony Joshua after he beats Deontay Wilder. And then he'll be the unified boxing champion. And then this is another thing, just sticking on the Francis Ngannou thing. Yeah. Well, here's another thing. I just saw this. I know it's not in the notes and I didn't send this to you guys, but I saw this yesterday. Is Tyson Fury said, as soon as I beat Deontay Wilder and as soon as I beat Anthony Joshua, I'm going to the UFC and I'm going to fight Francis Ngannou for that UFC heavyweight championship. And I was like, I mean, by all means, your legs are literally like this big around, but go ahead. You're going to get leg kicked and your leg's going to snap in half. But
this fight, I'm okay with. You know why? Because it doesn't break my rule of seeing
boxers
UFC
going to UFC.
Boxing.
Yeah.
Hey, man, if you want to fight an MMA fighter in MMA, I'm all about it.
Yeah.
That makes sense, right?
Jake Paul, Logan Paul.
Any one of those Pauls get in there, get crippled. That'd be great.
Yeah.
I think, I don't know. Maybe that may be too much bad juju. But I think there's, like you said, there's two issues I want to talk or bring up what you mentioned here.
Yeah,
Number one is anytime there's more world champions and there are worlds we are on, that's bullshit, right? So you can't have 8 world champions. We only got one fucking planet. How does that make sense? The other thing is when exactly what you said. I forget your guys' name. Sorry.
Trenton and Jeffrey.
Trenton, are you the one in the hat?
No,
that's Jeffrey.
Okay, so Jeffrey, I agree with you because when people move from boxing or from MMA to boxing, it's a different game and the rules beat them, right? Like, sure, I know this will come up later. I fucking hate Conor McGregor more than anybody on the planet. I hate him so much.
I told you guys.
I literally so much. I won a free signed Conor McGregor hat. And I walked around the bar to find the one person that was a tourist just to get the hat out of my city. And I gave it to them and said, take this out of my city. I legit hate him. On that note, Floyd Mayweather versus Conor McGregor, that's the only fights ever where the worst fighter won. If he was allowed to leg kick or grapple or do anything else, Mayweather couldn't have done shit. So I agree with your rule. I really like that. They can go one way, but it's not a two-way street.
Or make it a home and home. You know, like you do a
I'll fight you
match,
and
then you do MMA.
That's a good idea.
And then I'm gonna head kick your head literally off your shoulders.
Yeah, no, because I'm tired of everybody talking shit when they beat an MMA fighter in boxing. It's like, dude, no shit.
Well, it doesn't help when Ben Askren's our representative, though.
No, it didn't.
Doesn't help.
But it's akin to somebody being like, it's like somebody challenging the world champ, like Serena Williams, to table tennis and beating her. Yeah. Like, oh, I beat Serena Williams. Like, no, you didn't. You're playing ping pong. Like, it's not the same. It's different. Like, it's close, but it's not the same.
That's a good comparison. Yeah. So, hopefully that stuff gets squared away between Dana and his management, and hopefully this doesn't cause a huge rift between Francis and the UFC, because no matter what, Dana is the biggest reason why the UFC got as big as it did.
Yeah.
And Francis is a big part of that, you know, being one of the first African-born champion. So he draws a lot of eyes, which is good. But with that, they got to come to some sort of a common ground, and hopefully they can get that done sooner than later. So that way we can see Francis back in there, because I love watching Francis fight. The problem is that we don't get to see him fight for very long because his fights are always like fucking 30 seconds long. It's like Mike Tyson. It's literally like how Mike Tyson used to be, where people weren't watching because they didn't think Mike Tyson was going to lose. They just wanted to see how quick Mike Tyson was going to knock motherfuckers out.
Yeah.
So
the one thing that I hope about this too is that you have this fight, right? So it takes up a little bit of time for John Jones and Ngannou.
Fuck, he said he's not fighting until 2022, dude.
I don't care. Pay those dudes and get this fight done. I don't give a shit about.
He's not fucking getting 30 million. He's not getting 30 million.
You ain't got to pay that bitch 30 million, dude. Get out of here.
Okay. All right.
Well, what's the average cost of a lawyer? And then maybe just pay him that. I think that might be
for him.
Yeah, for John Jones's lawyer,
around 30 million. I understand why he's asking for it. That makes sense.
He's like, I got kids, I got lawyers, I got fucking cars,
all kinds of more dumb shit. I need more money.
I got more blow that I need to purchase. I got more. Like, fuck. All right. Another thing that I saw over the last couple of days, in the 145 division, one of Conor's former opponents, Chad Mendez, is getting the itch to come back. I'll be honest, I really like Chad Mendez. I was just going for Conor in that fight because I wanted Conor to fight Jose. But I like most of Team Alpha Male, in all honesty. There's a guy from Fairbanks, Justin Buckles, who used to be a trainer at Team Alpha Male. So really nice guy, really cool guy. And there's been some Alaskan fighters that have gone down to Sacramento to train at Team Alpha Male. So I like Team Alpha Male, and hopefully Chad Mendez does decide to come back. He doesn't need to. He was smart with his money. He invested. He started up his own like tour guide. He does tours. He does like hunting tours and fishing and all kinds of different stuff. He's a guide. So he was smart with the money that he got from Red Panty Night from Connor. He invested.
Yeah.
So, but he does look good on the pads, dude. He looks quick. He looks strong. If he does come back, the last time we saw him, I think he lost to Alexander Volkanovski, who obviously he's the champ now. So no shame in losing to him, but he did get knocked out by Frankie Edgar before that, and he got TKO'd by Alex. So hopefully if he does come back, it's a long enough break. It's a nice break, and it's not like he's hurting for money. So hopefully.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
If he does come back, do you think he comes back to the UFC? Because to me, it looks like he's training boxing right now.
No, he has to come back to the UFC. He's still under contract.
Okay, because he was talking saying that he's loving the pad work like Mike Tyson and Canelo style training and all this stuff, and he's working on his hands on boxing, and his stance looked very boxer stance. It didn't look like he was training MMA very much. It looked like he was just training boxing. So I didn't know if maybe he goes into bare knuckle boxing, or if he goes into
fuck that. There's no money in bare knuckle boxing.
Well,
unless you're Paige Van Zandt.
He's got a big enough name though that if he did go there, they'd have to pay him well.
Yeah, well, Diego wants to go to bare knuckle boxing, so what's that tell you?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. But I think, well, he's still under contract with UFC. Also, and another thing, before that, he was on a freaking PED suspension.
Yeah.
So
both hormones, right?
Yeah. So, and I mean, he looked like he was on HGH or something. So the guy's
whatever he's
shredded.
on, I want some of it.
You're on testosterone. What do you mean?
Yeah, that's medical. HGH I don't have.
I'm okay with Mendez coming back at this age because
145 is murderer's row. Top 10 is fucking tough.
Yeah. The only reason is because he's a wrestler. And if you're a wrestler at an older age and you can take people to the ground, then it's less exposure that you have to your chin, right?
Yeah.
So if he's gonna come back and still be that Chad Mendez that can wrestle fuck the shit out of everybody and anybody, I'm okay with it.
And have heavy ass.
I just don't want to see him come in and try and stand with banging people.
Yeah. Which is what it looks like he's trying to do. Like that's what he's training.
That's what Connor tried to do, and it didn't pay off last fight either. So
yeah.
I think Mendez should stay retired. I think there's very few fighters that did a good retirement. Mendez, GSP, and I can't think of any more off the top of my head. And I think they should just stay retired because it's a lot. It's just better for them. Like, I don't think, again, if you're not going unless you're going for a payday, then maybe go for boxing. That makes more sense. But if unless you're going for a run, why would you come back? Right. And if he's already doing well, I don't see the juice isn't worth the squeeze, right? There's just no, unless he really believes he has a championship.
Is that a steroid joke?
Or one more.
I'm
no, it's not at all.
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
But yeah, I think he should stay out. I think seeing young fighters need more examples of smart fighters retiring and how to retire. And I think he's one of the ones that did it well. And we have so few of those that don't get dragged back in.
Don't be Diego. Don't be Cowboy. Fuck.
Exactly, right? To just keep coming, like, guys, like, I don't know, like, take a coding course or something. Just stop. I don't know. Like, you need another skill set.
Well, luckily for him, Team Alpha Male is one of those things that advise you to be well-rounded. You know, invest your money into real estate.
Uriah is fucking smart.
Like Uriah. Uriah is the guy that started that. He was the one that started all this side shit.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So everybody in Alpha Male has been able to see Uriah's example, and it's really paying off.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I think, God, I want him to come back because I do want to see a motivated Chad Mendez and see what he can do. Because when you look at it, the last thing, I guarantee you most people would never even know that he fought Jose Aldo, or the fact that he fought Jose Aldo twice. Right. I guarantee you most people wouldn't even know that. But he looked good against Jose before he got caught. And also Jose fucking punched him after the round was over in one of the fights and wobbled him. Yeah. And also he also fought Connor, and he just gasped because he came in and fought on short notice. So the fact that he was able to cut the weight, make the weight, and still go in there, and he looks fucking tough in the first round. I was like, dude, I mean, he's gonna gas out, but it's just who's gonna gas out first.
Yeah.
So
every fighter has extreme confidence in themselves, you
Have
know,
to.
for him to come back and make a run in that division, I mean, that's you're
or
asking
he
a lot, right?
could go up to 155 because it's not. I mean, 155 is tough too.
He's
But-
so little for 55 though.
I
Like,
mean,
like mass, that muscle mass isn't going to be a problem for him. But
And
like,
as a wrestler,
but he's like
Yeah.
5'6", maybe. You know what I mean? Like,
now as Connor said, he's 5'4". He could rest his balls on his head. You're 5'4". Rest my balls on your head.
So, I mean, he'd be a small 155er for sure, but
Yeah, but I think the biggest problem is that it's like if he were to come back out and let's say he's not still under UFC's contract, he's gonna go to boxing. Who the fuck is he gonna box? Ryan Garcia? Ryan Garcia would absolutely annihilate him. Ryan Garcia is a beast, and the guy that I don't remember it, but Ryan Garcia just called him out because he wants to fight him next. He just fought last week or 2 weeks ago. I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but boxing is a whole nother beast.
yeah.
he's just not
and-
big enough in a draw that anybody of
No, it'd be like
Substance
Chad
is gonna
Mendez,
fight
and
him.
people would be like, "Who? Who
Yeah.
the fuck's that?" Because he hasn't been relevant in MMA either.
Yeah.
So
Well, if he does come back, hopefully the time off has been good for his chin, because
Mhm.
if his chin is solid again, he could compete with some of the best at 145 right now. The dude was always good and he's a beast. He hits hard as shit for that weight division, but his chin was failing him. I mean, Frankie Edgar KO'd him. I mean, like, you know, he took damage in those Aldo fights a lot, and
yeah,
they were wars.
and the Connor fight
Yeah, and
took
that
a lot
shit,
of damage.
that shit weared off on him. So, but if he's recovered and he comes back and his chin is strong, he can compete with the best in the world still. Like, I'd love to see him against Volkanovski again and all that stuff. If he's
Or him against Max, him
Yeah.
against any of those guys in 145. 145 that's the thing that's so fun about that division. Him against Jeremy Stevens, him against Yair Rodriguez, Korean Zombie.
Korean Zombie,
You're
great
fucking
fight.
Dan Ige. Anybody that's in the 145-pound division that's relevant is a beat. Fuck it. Why not? Let's do it.
that'd be a good
Yeah.
fight.
Yeah. Just wrestler,
Realistically, that'd be great.
just wrestler, one Russian guy versus an American guy, the guy that's 6'10", 145 pounds, fucking big ass bob of hair on his head. Fuck it. Let's go. That was
I
it
say
for
no. Mendez, if you're listening, don't go back, bro. You're done. It's over. Don't listen to these guys. They're
Yeah,
trying
if
to
you're
give you post-concussion syndrome.
Yeah.
Ignore them. Just stop.
Randy does make a good point, but I still want to see him fight.
That's fair.
Yeah. That for me, before we get started on preview and predictions, that's all I really had. Obviously, there was some fight announcements that we can discuss. Gijo Chikadze versus Leandro Barboza. That's a scheduled fight coming up.
Edson, right? Edson Barboza?
What did I say?
Something else, I think.
Not
I
it.
think I said Leonard Barboza.
Yeah.
That was,
Edson,
he used
yeah.
to play in the NBA. Sorry,
Okay.
Leonard Barboza used to play for the Phoenix Suns.
Leonard Barbosa sounds like his weird uncle at Thanksgiving. That's conspiracy
Yeah.
theories. God damn it, Leonard. Stop talking.
So Edson Barboza versus Gijo Chikadze. So that's a top 10 featherweight fight. That's going to be a good one. That's scheduled for, I think, August or September. Yeah. So other than that, I don't have anything else. Randy or Jeffrey or Trent, I don't know if you guys had anything else before we get into.
I'm good, brother.
I'm good. I think we go to predictions.
I'm
Awesome.
in for predictions. Let's do it.
All right. So just to do a quick recap, Jeffrey and I are 12-9 over 3 fight cards in our total picks, and Trent is 8-13 in his picks. We can start a guest list,
Oh,
and
don't
Randy
start
gets to
with
kick
me.
this
Just
off.
add them
So,
up.
just as a disclaimer right now, I am notoriously the worst at picking the fight. If you want to make money, whatever I say, just do the opposite.
Perfect. So Trent and Jeffrey, real quick. I feel like there's 2 fights here in the early prelims that there's known fighters. I kind of want to do the early prelims or there's 2 fights with known fighters. I'll tell you this: the kickoff fight between Yao Zhonghu and Alan Amedovsky or however the fuck you pronounce his name. I don't know them, and clearly, and then the Jerome Rivera and Zalgas Zimagulov. I don't know either of those guys either, but we do know who Brad Tavares is. We do know who Jennifer Maia and Jessica Ai are. So I say, fuck it. Do you want to just do those 2 instead of the
start with those 2 and then we'll go
Okay.
on. I don't really know the first 2 fights.
Yeah. Well, I could tell you in the Zalgas fucking beef stroganoff fight and the Jerome Rivera fight, they both are on like severe losing streaks. One's on like a 3-fight or 4-fight losing streak. So okay, Amari Akhmedov and Brad Tavares. We know Brad's fought some of the toughest guys in the middleweight division. Obviously, one of those guys being Israel Adesanya. And I mean, you would think he's a proven fighter, former, Ultimate Fighter competitor, but you got a Dagestani guy there, Akhmedov, and Khabib Zabit. What's the other guy? The other guy that's 155. That's the lightweight. He's Khabib's teammate.
Oh,
God damn it! He's at AKA.
yeah.
You know who I'm talking about.
Yeah.
I
can't. He's undefeated. He kicked the shit out of Drew Dober, and that's the reason why I didn't pick Drew Dober in that last fight.
Yep.
Anyways, so I'm gonna go with the Dagestani here because how can you not?
Everything you said, exactly. Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Dagestani as well.
Yeah, me too. They're like modern day Vikings pillaging North America for gold, man. They're coming and they're taking it over and over. So I'm almost always betting Dagestani right now.
Yeah, I'm gonna agree.
All right, so we're all in agreement. The women flyweight fight, you got Jennifer Maia versus Jessica Ai. This is going to be an interesting fight because this is where I see Jessica Ai starting to fall off and she becomes that gatekeeper for the women's division. Jennifer Maia is coming off of a full 5-round fight against Valentina, which is hard to do. It might just be because stylistically, it's just a completely different style for Valentina. It's more of like a grappler based style, but Valentina has been just dropping motherfuckers like flies recently. And I mean, specifically Jessica Ai is one of those people. That's one of the gnarliest and nastiest head kick knockouts I've ever seen. So I feel like Maia is just leaps and bounds ahead of where Jessica Ai is right now. Jessica Ai is on her way out and Maia's in a completely different category. So I got to go with Maia personally. I don't think it's going to be a decision, or I don't think it's going to be a finish. I think it's going to be a decision, but Maia had me convinced that, she's legit. Obviously she's levels beneath Valentina. Everybody else is. So that's okay. But Maia's above Jessica Ai.
For Jessica Ai to be the favorite, to me, I don't know about that. But I can say this. I think that Jessica Ai is still one of those last holdouts from like the first group of savage women, that came up in the old school, in the old days where she just
like Liz Carmouche, Sarah McMahon, all those girls.
Yeah. And I do think that she's already a gatekeeper. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean, she's obviously talented. She's obviously good. I just think that Jennifer Maia is too good. And she's coming off some of that competition that's so high. I don't see a way she loses to Ai here.
It's a nice little rub off from Valentina, when you get in there and you go 5 rounds with arguably one of the greatest, like pound for pound, not just women, but just pound for pound, one of the greatest. Sometimes I feel like that's what you need, just a nice little rub off from the champ.
Yeah, and she does everything that Jessica does.
Come on, Randy.
Just so much better.
I agree. I got Maia here on this one for that alone. Like she's just went in there, did that, with the champ, and I think that's sometimes the drive you need to get better. You see how good you can be, or that people can get, and then it makes you that much better. You work harder, and I think that Maya should win here. And yeah, I don't understand why Jessica Ai is the favorite as of right now with the performances that she's had as well. So
Yeah, same. Yeah, echo everything you're saying. I think, like you said, one is on the way down, one's on the way up. It just makes sense.
Now I want to change my fucking picks because Randy said that.
I'm cursing you.
You
I'm cursing
motherfucker.
you all.
Dude, if I don't get a single fight right, I blame you, Randy.
Honestly, like write it down.
Blame the Canadians, eh?
It is a running gag in my friend group when we watch fights. Like, who'd you pick for this? I'm like, I can't tell you. Like, no.
Yeah.
Even.
All right, going into the prelims, we've got kicking off in the middleweight division, Trevin Giles versus Dricus du Plessis, guy out of South Africa. Stud, absolute stud, by the way. But I really think in this fight, Trevin Giles, du Plessis, he's only had one fight in the UFC. It was in Abu Dhabi, so you got no crowd. You got nothing. Or, you had maybe 1,000 fans, maybe. And then you have Trevin Giles, who's been in the UFC. He has multiple fights in the UFC. He's fought when, pre-COVID, when he knows what it's like to fight in front of a big crowd, a big audience. Fights out of Houston. I don't know if he's at the same gym as Derek Lewis. He might be, but either way, he's fought in the UFC. He has enough fights, and I mean the records are almost identical.
Yeah.
But Trevin Giles, I think just that UFC experience is going to help him. So I'm going with Trevin Giles in this fight.
Okay. I'm going to go with du Plessis.
Okay.
I'm going to go with what I seen in that one fight. And I believe it was a first round knockout, right?
Yeah, but it was like towards the, no. Maybe it was a first.
Let me check right now.
I think it was.
It was like towards the end of the
first
fight.
round TKO, yeah.
TKO,
First round,
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so he still had like a minute and a half left. Gotcha. Okay.
I think he looks sharp. I think he's fit. I think his cardio is the shit. And I think he pulls this out decision.
Okay. Randy or Trenton, either or.
Go ahead, Trenton.
I'm going to agree with Jeffrey here. I think du Plessis wins this. I watched his last performance, and I thought he looked pretty good. And I think I'm going to go with that one as well. He's got like a 1 inch height advantage. That's nothing really. 2 inch reach.
2 inches reach.
I don't.
I mean, they're fairly even.
I real quick, Randy, just before you make your pick. So I should have prefaced this by saying, like, I watched that fight. Yesterday. I just watched that fight. He against Marcus Perez. He was losing that round.
Yeah.
He was losing that round up until he caught him. So it's good that he caught him, but if that would have gone, to the end of the round, which obviously shoulda, coulda, woulda, what could have been, but he was still losing that whole round. It was easily losing. So it was
that fight
good.
is fresh in your mind. It's not in mine. I just remember the KO. So
I also remember because his, when they did the weigh-ins, Marcus Perez dressed as the Joker.
Yeah.
He had the face paint and everything. It was pretty cool. Heath Ledger's Joker, the only good one. Let's fucking clarify that, okay?
Jack Nicholson did very well.
I was
Thank
gonna
you
say,
very much. How dare you? Rewatch the original Keaton Batman. Jack Nicholson needs more due. Anyways,
That's the only Batman.
No, sorry,
That's
Mark Hamill's Joker, but that's just a voiceover. It's a
yeah,
little
exactly.
different. Sorry.
I'm going with du Plessis as well. I think he's very new school. I think he's dangerous in both striking and in submissions. If you look at his amateur record, he had like kind of almost 50-50, more subs and knockouts, but he's very well-rounded as a fighter. He's part of this new generation of like actual mixed martial artists that have been doing mixed martial arts, not a kickboxer who became a mixed martial artist or jiu-jitsu guy became a mixed martial artist. So I think it's him.
Okay. This next fight is the one that I've had the biggest struggle with, and I'm still to this point, I'm torn.
Yeah.
because it's Ryan Hall versus Ilya Tapuria, sorry. Guy out of Spain, stud. He has a swagger about him. Yesterday when he was getting doing interviews and stuff, it's like he's confident. And he's like, you know what? I've trained with top level grapplers with black belts, but Ryan Hall is so awkward and he's just different. That's the best way to describe him. He's just different. He's not your normal black belt. He's not a Damian Maya, where you're like, oh, okay. And another thing is Ryan Hall, he might not be a striker, but he's never been outstruck in any of his UFC fights. So you can't say he's a bad stand-up fighter because he's never been outstruck in his fights. But then again, we've also seen him do a goddamn heel hook in 90% of his fights. So, or he does an Eminari roll and then
Eminari roll, yep.
Yeah, he just fucking Eminari rolls you. And so I think Tapuria's, I think he's gonna win. I don't think it's gonna be like, I think it's gonna be like a very methodical, very thought out fight. It might not be super exciting, and hopefully I'm wrong because I was wrong about Brandon Moreno and Davison Figueiredo. I said that fight was going to be boring, and but I did pick the right winner. I will say that.
Yeah.
But I'm going to go with Tapuria in this one.
Okay. Everything about this fight tells me to pick Ilya. Like everything. He's 10-0. He's
Young.
Also a jiu-jitsu guy.
Young.
Very good. Here's why I'm going to pick Ryan Hall. Because Ryan Hall is super unorthodox, right? And if you don't train against that, you're screwed. But here's the thing, you can't train against that. You can't train against somebody who's shooting Eminari rolls on the regular, who's pulling guard on the regular. And if you've never seen that, that can throw you problems. Mm-hmm. And not only that, this is about the time where if you're 10-0, you get caught, right? Those up and comers, they get caught. So, and Ilya, and I mean this in the most respectful way, when I watch him fight, he doesn't scream like top contender right now, right?
He's still young. That's the thing.
He's very young, but I'm saying this is where they lose. So I think that Ryan Hall catches him and submits him.
All right, I'll go with my prediction. I got Ilya. I think Ryan Hall is amazing on the ground. I think he's dangerous. He's so like unorthodox, and it's a weird style to even prepare for. Like you don't know what he's gonna do. He might Eminari roll. He might throw some back kicks and wheel kicks and crazy shit to try to keep you at distance and all that stuff like he did in previous fights. But I feel like I haven't seen him fight enough or often enough because
nobody wants to fight him. Nobody.
Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm. Nobody wants to fight him because he is so dangerous. But like, I feel like this is where you get your reward. Like the guy's been on layoffs after layoffs. Like he fights maybe once a year.
He hasn't fought since 2019.
Yeah. So
it's not even once a year. Yeah. Nobody wants to fight him.
And so I don't know. I just think like the experience here, the I guess consistency of fighting, like he's in there more. I think Ilya should be able to pull this one off. I think I just haven't seen enough of Ryan Hall to say that he is going to win this fight in my opinion.
Okay.
I think so. I'm going to split the decision. I'm also going Hall. So sorry for your luck.
Mm-hmm.
But the reason why I'm going with Hall is pretty much exactly what we said, right? This kid's new. He's up and coming, 10-0. 10-0, but his fights were, I don't know, there wasn't anybody like super like stand out. It's just like, oh, like they were 10 good fights. Don't get me wrong. Hall is, unorthodox. We all like that. I'm a fan of Hall, so there's a little bit of my own bias going in there. I like his jiu-jitsu style, even though I'm not personally a jiu-jitsu guy. I don't like it that much. But I do think like you said, Christian, it was, he hasn't been outstruck. He knows what he's doing. He can throw weird stuff, and he's always experimenting. He's pretty confident. Like, I know you like swagger in people. I don't. I think that kid swagger at 10-0, and he's like 8, or how old is that kid? He's like nothing.
24.
Yeah, there's like a 12-year gap between him and Hall. Yeah. So that's one. I'm saying it tentatively. Hall's gonna win because Hall does young man jiu-jitsu, and he's no longer a young man. So it's, you know what I mean? Like all those
Yeah.
rolls and all those, like that's good in your 20s, but it's been a bit. Let's see if it keeps going. I think he has a few more wins in him, but I think this might be the downside of his career.
But the thing that sucks, and you know, obviously, I respect your guys' opinion. I will respectfully disagree, which is why I picked the young cat. But Ryan Hall, like we said, he's 36. Like, and I'm not going to be an ageist here, but nobody in the UFC, like, say he goes on a good run, it would be like when Damian Maia fought Anderson Silva for the belt years and years ago. Nobody gave a shit because the fight was fucking boring, because you have a guy who wants to be a stand-up guy, even though he does have good ground game, and Damian Maia, who has no goddamn stand-up, except for against Bilal Muhammad, I guess, because he looked decent against Bilal Muhammad. Yeah, but yeah, I just feel like even if he rattles off, you know, because say he does beat Ilya, he's not a big enough name that people are going to be like, yeah, sure, I'll risk my top 15 position to fight you. Like,
did you watch the weigh-ins for this?
The weigh-ins are tomorrow.
That's okay. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, I just want to see if he's a bigger guy, because he's got 3 inches on him, but I want to see if he's the bigger guy.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I guess we'll see tomorrow morning. I think the weigh-ins start at 9 tomorrow. So
yeah.
Well, 9 my time. I don't know about. I mean, that's 11 your time, Randy. 10 o'clock your guys' time, since, you know, we got these fucking time zone things going. Next in the welterweight division, and this is where things get really fun. This is where, from this point forward, I'm pumped. I know on like our first or second episode, I absolutely shit on this card. I was like, this fucking card sucks. Look at your co-main event, because at first they had Greg Hardy versus Tai Tuivasa as the co-main event. I was like, fuck Greg Hardy. Why is he in the co-main? Anyways, I digress. I take back everything that I said. We got Nico Price versus Michael Pereira. Both guys are super fun, super flashy brawlers. And just for fan entertainment, like, this fight's not going to be boring. Nico Price is coming off of a suspension. His fight with Donald Cerrone got ruled a no contest due to a positive marijuana test. And he was there yesterday when getting interviewed, and they were like, man, this is kind of like a slap in the face, because you're coming off the suspension for marijuana, and now the Nevada State Athletic Commission just legalized it. And he's like, yeah, oh well, shit happens. It is what it is. So at least he's got a good attitude about it. But I really think that Nico Price he's the guy who's been in the bigger name fights. He knows what it's like to fight guys that are in that top 10 area. I think when he fought James Vick was still relevant. I mean, he was getting knocked out every fucking fight, but he was still in the top 15. So I gotta go with Nico Price here. Like Michael Pereira, but I really think Nico Price is, and he quit smoking weed, so maybe he's got a clearer mind. I don't know. He said he feels better. He said he feels more energized since he quit smoking weed, so I don't know.
Okay, so, well, yeah, that's a big one right there. I was just going to bring that up. So I'm going to go with Nico Price. Michael Pereira is what, 25-11?
Yeah.
You know, he's got a lot of fights, but he's got some losses on that record that make me go, shit. Dude lost to Diego Sanchez.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
Not too long.
Like within the last 2 years, right? Or
right.
It was a DQ though, wasn't it?
What?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was it?
Yeah.
I
guess.
Round 3 DQ.
Oh,
Here's my
he
thing.
kneed him in the head when he was down, and then Diego was like, oh, I can't go on.
Yeah.
Joshua Fabio's like, play this shit out, bro.
So anyways, I'm going with Nico, dude. He's excited. Exciting. I think he's going to go out there and put on a clinic, dude. If he does anything like he did with Donald, he should piece this cat up.
Agreed.
I agree. I think Nico Price has got this. I think they're both entertaining as shit. You never know what Pereira's gonna do. That dude's jumping off a cage.
Jumps off the fucking cage, backflips.
He's doing weird shit, capoeira or whatever it's called. He's got all that shit in his back pocket, and it's flashy and entertaining. But like Nico Price, has had some of the weirdest knockouts I've ever seen from
That
the
up kick,
weirdest,
dude.
yeah, from weird angles and shit. You know what I mean? Like the dude's dangerous everywhere he is, and that's I think where they differ. Like all the flashiness aside and all that stuff, like Nico Price might finish you from his back on the ground with your, like, you know what I mean? Like a hammer fist or something.
Yeah.
Like he's dangerous everywhere he is. And I think that's where they differ. And that's where I'm going to go with Nico Price on this.
I'm the only one going to side with Pierre on this one.
Mhm.
I'm going with his size, the flash, and the experience. I think he's had a lot of fights. He's done it, like he's put his time in. Sure, he has some losses, but with that volume of fights, there's just no way that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
Even the great, like this myth of invincible fighters needs to go away. I love how in every other sport, if you lose a game, you still have
You
fans, but
fucking
in a-
suck, bro.
Yeah,
You
but
suck.
in a fight game, you like lose one, like, oh, everybody hates you. But I do think I'm going to go against the grain, which means I'm probably wrong, but I'm going to go with Pierre. now. Yeah.
Thanks, Randy. Appreciate
You're
it. Thanks for throwing us a
I
bone,
really
bud.
am a fickle fan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you lose, dude, fucking
You're out.
you're
No
dead
more
to me.
talk. You're
Yeah.
dead to me.
All right. The headline of this preliminary card, my boy Carlos, the natural born killer Condit, is back against
baby.
Max Griffin. And I don't give a shit out of nostalgia and out of pure love and appreciation for Carlos Condit. I got to go with Carlos Condit. I don't give a fuck about statistics. I don't care about anything else. Carlos Condit, that's all you need to know.
Yeah, so I'm gonna do the same thing. It's Carlos Condit or fucking nothing for me.
Yeah.
And look, yeah, he's past his prime, but Max Griffin's got 8 losses, dude.
He's fucking
So-
35 too. He's not far behind Carlos.
Yeah, you know, so we're not talking about some giant up and comer. You know, Carlos Condit could win this fight, and I think he does win this fight.
I agree. I got Carlos Condit in this. He's had the way higher caliber of opponents, whether he's past his prime or not. He's still got that experience with them. He's got that knowledge of how, like, he's a solid vet at this point. You know what I mean? Like he knows like how to win fights. And I think that's going to be the difference here. He's got so many fights under his belt. He's fought champions. He was the champion himself in WC for years. You know, like I think just the experience alone is going to carry him to victory in this fight.
So I have the opposite feelings for Carlos Condit. I think he is one of the first smoke champs. I don't think he's real. I think he's a hype train person. Like I think of a lot of people's fan McGregor. I think it's mostly promo that got him to where he is. I'm going Griffin.
Ooh, those ones hurt my
This
feelings
guy.
right there.
First off, Randy, how fucking dare you? Number one, you come on my podcast, our podcast, and you do this shit? How dare you, sir?
First and last guest.
No, I think you just look back on Carlos Condit, look back on like his fight with GSP, his fight with Dong Young Kim, where
Robbie Lawler.
I mean, even when he fought Tyron, obviously Tyron leg kicked him so bad that he blew his ACL out. So that sucked, but still good fight. Carlos Condit is just that guy. Rory McDonald. Oh, those front kicks, dude.
That comeback was real.
Yeah. That was Rory's first professional loss.
Mm-hmm.
Canada, eh? How about that, Randy?
Yeah, he didn't win a lot of those fights you just mentioned.
Yeah.
Also, I don't know what you're trying to prove here. He just I don't know, like he was good
GSP,
looking.
also
He had-
Canada.
he was good looking. He had some charisma. They put a lot of money behind his like photo shoots with the smoke, but I think he's trash.
Hey, Carlos, it doesn't matter what Randy says.
No, it doesn't.
It matters what we say.
Yeah.
So we love
We
you.
love you, dude.
Yeah, we love you.
Boo.
Yeah. So we got 3-1 for Carlos over Max Griffin, who's now Randy's favorite fighter, apparently.
Anybody fighting him is that's like an automatic. I vote for him.
Like
Also,
Conor
he's-
McGregor.
He's on the. Oh my god! Don't even. We'll get to him.
That's why I said this is probably going to be the longest podcast we ever do, boys, because I was like, we're we're gonna have 3 guys that love Connor and 1 guy who has so much fucking disdain for Connor that's the reason why I shit you not, Randy, when I was like, hey man, you want to be on a podcast? Because I knew I was like, oh, he's gonna be the one guy that's like
But we have to
good
have
back.
somebody contradict.
1 versus 3, the balance is gonna be so good because of your disdain for Connor. So
That's fair. I
Yeah.
have enough hatred to fuel me through all 3 of you, so we should be
Yeah.
To be fair, though, as much as I love Connor, I am still on the edge of who I'm picking for this fight so far.
Same, dude.
So
Wow.
there you go.
Okay, bantamweight kicking off the main card. We've got Sugar Sean O'Malley, who's still undefeated. Don't you forget it. Versus Chris Moutinho, who's fucking nobody out of nowhere, Rhode Island, and he was lucky enough that this basically got picked by Sugar Sean O'Malley and the UFC because there were other guys that had their names thrown in the hat to fight Sugar Sean O'Malley, but one of the guys was like, yeah, I can't make 135. And it's like, well, this is a 135-pound fight. So why'd you throw your name in when you know that you're not going to make the 135-pound cut? But good on this guy. He gets his shot. He said that it's a multiple fight deal. So he'll get to prove himself. It's kind of like fucking CM Punk, I guess. And get to sign a 2-fight deal and see how well you do against some of these guys. I tell you what, that's a fucking steep debut to make. Sugar Sean O'Malley he's honestly, I think he's the next Conor McGregor. So Randy probably fucking hates him, but yeah, I'm excited. I have Sean O'Malley winning this fight. He said we're gonna see a knockout that no one's ever seen before. I highly doubt it, but I still think it's going to be a finish just because this guy hasn't had any time to prepare. He's had 7 or 8 days, maybe 10 days total. And also you look at all of his losses, they're all finishes. He's been submitted twice and he's gotten TKO'd or KO'd twice. So it doesn't look good on your record when all your losses, yeah, you're 9-4, but you've been submitted twice, you've gotten finished twice. So
Yep.
Yeah, that's my take. Sean O'Malley by finish.
I'm going to go Sean O'Malley as well. This fight, look, I love Sean O'Malley, and my heart is in Montana with him. But this shouldn't be a
What
fight,
city is he
right?
from? First off, what city is he from?
I don't know.
Great Falls.
Oh, no. Great
My
Falls. I was
sister
gonna
lived
say,
there.
yeah.
My sister lived there. That's the only reason I know that.
I just don't think this should be a fight. You know, like it shouldn't even be on the card. I think Sean should have waited till the next card, got somebody of name, because he stands nothing to win from this fight, right?
Exactly.
Like, dude, if Chris beats O'Malley,
So it's
Jesus
such
Christ,
a fuck.
he's there.
It's a high risk, no fucking reward fight.
No reward.
No.
And that's why I hate this fight. I love Sean O'Malley being game and fighting anybody. But I mean, this is all
Not
risk,
fucking
zero
fighting
reward.
Francis. That's the way I look at it.
Yeah.
It's
He's
like
taking a fight he should win.
Yeah.
But still, you know, like I appreciate him taking that gamble.
Yeah.
But yeah, he should fucking win this fight.
Yeah, I got Sean O'Malley. The only thing that concerns me in this is like what you were saying. I'm going to finish him in exciting fashion like nobody's ever seen before or something like that. Like, I hope he doesn't take this fight super lightly and just get cocky and start like doing spinning shit and just
like
gets
Bisping
KO'd.
versus
Like,
Luke Rockhold
yeah,
all
just-
over again.
you know, like I don't want to see that because, dude, that setback right here, if you lose to this guy,
Yeah.
no offense to you, you're not going to be a fucking star anymore. Like, all your hype is gone, dude. Like,
Yeah. I don't like it.
everything. Like you saying he could be the next Conor McGregor or something like that. That shit goes out the window on a loss with this.
Yeah.
Nobody's ever heard of this guy before. You know what I mean? So
He's got
Sean
green hair
O'Malley-
though.
Yeah. So Sean O'Malley should win this fight. I mean, he's an 835 underdog.
It's the biggest favorite on the card.
favorite on the cards right now. Like,
Jesus
geez,
fuck.
that's it's insane, dude. Like,
You literally bet $100 to make $8. Like,
it's not even crazy. I mean,
Yeah.
if you were a betting man and you really wanted to, you bet on the other guy, even though it's a terrible bet, but you stand to make some cash on this
Yeah.
one. So, but yeah, I say Sean O'Malley for sure.
obviously I'm in the same boat here.
Yeah.
Like it seems like O'Malley's being fed this poor child, and like they're just like trying to use them or whatever. But what my prediction is, O'Malley, it's definitely not who I'm cheering for. I really hope there's like an upset here. And I hope this unknown who comes in, like this is his chance, like you said, right? If he beats O'Malley, like it's now, his life changes now. Yep. So I love that kind of story. Not even a shot at O'Malley, who I'm not that big of a fan of, but I don't hate like unnecessarily like I do McGregor.
But you don't Conor him?
Yeah, I don't Conor him. But I do think like obviously like the smart choice is O'Malley, but I really hope he loses.
Yeah.
Just for this kid's like life to be like totally different. That would be amazing.
Yeah. I think that from this point going forward, that if Sean O'Malley doesn't fight somebody a big name next, then I'm gonna get off the train. Like, because I'm so sick. And obviously, you know, Luis Smolka is a guy he's been in the division, so he's a name. Nonetheless, he's a name in the division. That's a name I know. Maybe a lot of casual fans don't know who he is, but I do. That being said, he's still not a big name. He needs to be fighting guys in the one, like up in the top 10 at this point. Fuck top 15. You need to be fighting guys in the top 10. So, because I guarantee you, if you were to fight Corey Sandhagen or TJ Dillashaw or any of these other guys that are, you know, Cody Garbrandt, Rob Font, you name it, any of these guys in 135, if you were to fight them now, he would get absolutely annihilated because he lost to Cheeto Vera, and Cheeto's 8th, I think, who just beat Davey Grant, who was 9th, and Cheeto put it on him. Yeah. So
I think even without that injury, that fight was going towards
Cheeto was kicking the shit out of him.
Yeah, he was.
All right, so we're all in agreement, unanimous decision. Yeah. Chris Moutinho is going to win by fucking spinning head kick, knockout, backwards, off the cage.
Some crazy shit's going to happen. He's going to get cocky, overconfident. He's going to go in there and he's going to get slept. And it's going to.
That'd make my whole
night. It's really going to.
I hope that does not fucking happen.
Yeah.
That would make my whole night. Like I'd just be off the couch.
Sean O'Malley and Connor get knocked out.
Oh my god! I can only get
and Carlos Condit loses.
Oh my god! Yeah, you got to stop talking. There's only so much my body can handle. That's.
All right. So the women's bantamweight fight: Irene Aldana versus Yana Kunitskaya. I'm leaning with Kunitskaya in this fight. She originally got brought in. I think she was fighting in Invicta. She originally got brought in to fight Cyborg. That's how her UFC tenure got kicked off. She fought Cyborg, obviously lost, but still hell of a introduction to the UFC. But she's had some good fights. She's had some good performances. I really feel like Yana's just all around the better fighter. So I got to go with her.
Okay. I think that Aldana has higher level of competition for sure. Mm-hmm. I mean, what was her last? Holly Holm?
Yeah.
She lost to Holly Holm. That's
not to be ashamed of.
You know?
No.
Yeah, exactly. But I think Kunitskaya is really good on the ground. And her takedown per round or per minute is super high. But Aldana's takedown defense is really good.
Mm-hmm.
But I think if she can get this down to the ground, she takes it, she wins. Their striking percentages and stuff like that, and their significant strikes landed aren't that different. So I see the advantage on the ground, and I think she wins.
Yana Kunitskaya?
Yeah, Kunitskaya, yeah.
Okay. I'm going to go with Aldana on this one. I think that for the reasons Jeffrey stated, I think she has had the higher level of competition.
You lost to Raquel Pennington.
I understand that, but I think that she should win this fight. Hopefully she's motivated off that last loss. It was just a decision with her too. It's not like she got head kick KO'd or anything.
And like she went, so. I will give her credit here. She went 5 rounds. She knows what it's like to be in a 5-round fight. So we know that she can go the distance. I'll give her that.
I think I got Aldana on this one.
Okay.
I'm going Aldana as well for the exact reason. Higher level competition, knows what championship rounds feel like. No need to echo chamber. Everything you said is the reason I'm picking her as well.
Gotcha. All right. This is where, get to the big boys. Tai Tuivasa versus Greg Hardy. I feel like Greg Hardy had a fucking rocket ship propelled up his ass. And
For no reason.
And the UFC, it's like the guy. I don't care. I don't care if it's political. The guy's a freaking womanizer. He beats women. I don't care if he was never found guilty of it. He's a hypocrite. He called Derek Lewis an ex-con, fat ex-con who needs to shut his mouth. It's like, okay, man. And he said that he's one of the best boxers in the heavyweight division. My ass. And he said that he wants to get into boxing because he feels like he would stand a good chance against Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua. For that reason, and also because Tai Tuivasa, he does shoeies. They're fucking disgusting, but they're cool. Cool nonetheless. Randy, you know what a shoey is?
I don't.
Okay, a shoey is where someone takes their shoe off and they hock a loogie into their shoe and you pour an entire beer into it and you drink the beer out of their shoe.
Delicious.
Oh,
Yeah. Fucking disgusting. I hate spit. Nonetheless, good on you, Ty.
Takes a special human.
I think Greg Hardy thinks that he's this. I mean, he gave himself the nickname the Prince of War, self-proclaimed Prince of War. I don't know if he played like a goddamn video game and came up with that.
Absolutely did. Absolutely was stoned and playing God of War. And
Yeah.
I'm like the prince of this
He's like, how about
shit.
He was like, what about a prince?
Exactly.
But Tai Tuivasa, I mean, Trent, he's knocked out our boy Stefan Struve.
I know that hurts my feelings a little bit.
So I mean, obviously it's not like the height is it doesn't really matter. Tai Tuivasa is probably going to be one of the smaller heavyweights. And he's been in some absolute wars and he's been the one that's pulled through and won. So I got to go with him. And Greg Hardy, I hope you stand in the pocket in exchange. I hope.
Yeah. I absolutely fucking hate Greg Hardy. Like, there's not very many fighters that I'll get on a podcast and say, like, I can't stand that dude. I can't stand Greg Hardy. Having said that, he's bigger. He's got like a 5-inch reach advantage. He should win this fight. Like, he just should. Tuivasa has been in some bangers, and I'm still not like that impressed. But I pick him to win just because I can't stand Greg Hardy.
I got Tuivasa. I think that he's proven himself more in the heavyweight division than Greg Hardy has.
Yeah.
I think Greg Hardy has, like, I don't understand where this hype comes from. Maybe it's
He played in the fucking NFL.
I mean,
That's why.
I get
He
it.
played in the
but,
NFL.
But the hype behind him, and they're giving him, like, co-main events and main events on fight nights
Against
and shit like
fucking
that.
Alexander Volkov. Come on.
And that to me is unearned, and I don't understand it. I don't care if he was in the NFL or not. Like, I don't know. I don't think he's at the skill level of some of these guys. His cardio's been shit. It's been improving.
He took the goddamn inhaler, and they're like, "Did it get approved by the commission?" He's like, "Yeah." Like, and then he's like, "Well, sucks that your performance got taken away because you cheated." But
yeah, I just think Tai Tuivasa should win this fight. I think he's the better actual fighter than Greg Hardy is.
Greg Hardy has every physical advantage.
Yeah,
every physical advantage though.
He should be a lot faster.
I'm going Tuivasa as well. Also, like, you've probably caught my running theme here, is I hate when I believe fighters are put in the spotlight when they don't deserve to be in the spotlight, when they don't really earn it. And Greg Hardy is the worst sinner of that problem. Again, right? They're just trying to sell tickets with them. Yeah, NFL over cross, whatever. But I don't think he's a better fighter. Yeah, he's bigger and stronger. I agree. He should be faster. You think he would be, but I don't think he's going to take it. I just don't. I don't know. He's a little bit Rocky 3 to me, where Rocky's not paying attention. Clubber Lang is in that dirty gym working, right? Greg Hardy's a little bit Rocky 3. He's a little bit like, I think he's too caught up in his own image to actually be really good at this.
Yeah.
Can you imagine if he came out looking like fucking Mr. T.
That would be
He should.
If he
pity
comes out
I
dressed
pity
as
the
Mr.
fool.
T, one feather earring, I'm a fan. I'm done. I'm in. That's it.
Oh, fuck off, Randy. Oh, fuck off. Okay. Co-main. God, dude, this is another one that I'm just so unsure of.
Yeah.
I'm so unsure of because I love me some Wonder Boy. I love Tenacious D, his walkout song every single time. Dude, I shit you not, I will stand up and I will sing the whole goddamn song as he comes out. Yeah, like it's the fucking Pledge of Allegiance. So yeah, I love Wonder Boy, and Burns is a stud. And his last fight, he lost. He lost to Kamaru, and he had flashy moments in that fight where he rocked Kamaru, but he went blitzkrieg and just fucking tried blitzing him, and you can't do that against the champ. The biggest difference, and it's like in every single fight that Wonder Boy has, is there's nobody that you can model like Wonder Boy, because that karate style is not, you can't match it. Anybody that's a wrestler, you can get go ahead, go get Jordan Burroughs, go get fucking Ben Askren for all I care. And he can model a wrestler in a training camp. But karate is one of those that it's so hard to mimic that, and the way that he approaches a fight, the way that he stands in the pocket, or the way that he does things, it's so hard. And for that reason, I know that all around the better fighter is Gilbert Burns. That's not what I will never argue that. The all around better fighter is for sure Gilbert Burns. But in this fight, the karate style is going to be so hard for him to, like, he's just going to get outpointed the whole time. Just like what Wonder Boy does in almost every single fight. He outpoints you. I will say this. Gilbert Burns' best friend is Vicente Luque. He cornered Vicente in the fight against Wonder Boy. So he's seen firsthand. He's helped train, do a training camp for Wonder Boy. So he's got like an edge in terms of Wonder Boy never trained for Gilbert, but Gilbert essentially trained for Wonder Boy. He's already done it. The one thing that I'm going to say is if Wonder Boy does lose, is he's going to get clipped with a left hook in the fight, because in the entire fight with Vicente Luque, he lands a combination or he does something and he drops his right hand, and Luque came over the top. He just didn't have enough power or enough precision to land that, huge shot to drop Wonder Boy or, stagger him. But Gilbert Burns has that explosiveness and that power that I feel like if he lands that same shot on Wonder Boy, he'll probably put him out. So Wonder Boy needs to keep his hands up at all times. And that's hard to do because he never puts his hands up. His hands are always fucking down because he's a karate fighter. But if he's not careful, he'll get caught. But that being said, I'm still going to go with Wonder Boy.
I'm going to go with Wonder Boy as well. If we ever get popular and people go watch this, I'm going to get absolutely blasted in the comments. But
Randy, you got fans, right?
Yeah, I just don't think that Burns's level of competition add up to being the second number two. I just don't.
No.
If you look at his Woodley fight, that went 5 rounds with a Woodley that wasn't Woodley.
No.
And he got shown up by Usman. Then he beat Maya. Then he beat Nelson. Then he beat Kuchenko. But I just don't think that matches what Wonder Boy has done. Wonder Boy's fought the pinnacle for a very long time.
Mm-hmm.
And he's fought better wrestlers, better strikers, people that do things better than Burns, And I think that his takedown defense is good and his striking is so unorthodox that it's going to give problems. I just think that he's fought better fighters and he's won better fighters. So there's no way that Wonder Boy should lose this. Could he get caught? Yeah. But I don't think he does.
No.
I think this goes decision, and I think Wonder Boy wins.
All right, I think
choose wisely, train nor else.
I know. I think I got Gilbert Burns in this one.
Oh, fuck off.
And
That's
it's not
choosing wisely.
It's not because of anything other than it's a 3-round fight. And I think that if it was a longer fight, it would favor Wonder Boy a lot more. But I think that Gilbert Burns has the cardio and the explosiveness for 3 rounds, 3 hard rounds. And I think it's only going to take one clean, good shot from him with that power to put him out. So I think it's going to be a tall task for him to accomplish that. But I think in 3 rounds, he could do it.
Just real quick, Randy, first off, you realize that Wonder Boy's been in more 5-round fights than Gilbert, right?
Yeah.
So his conditioning has never been in question to me. I think that all that explosiveness that Gilbert possesses it's a first-round thing. I don't think he can maintain that through 3 rounds.
I think that's what I'm hoping that he can do.
But he has went 5 before,
Yeah.
so
He's gone 5 with
Woodley.
Tyron once.
Yeah. But it was done.
Yeah, but also when Tyron was in his prime, that's when Wonder Boy fought him.
Yes.
When he survived after he got dropped multiple times and got put in probably one of the deepest guillotines I've ever seen, and he still survived it and still managed to make it a majority draw.
Well, that's what I was saying, that it would favor Wonder Boy more if it was a 5-round fight.
Right.
Okay, gotcha. My bad. I apologize. I misunderstood what you were saying.
No, I think it favors Burns that it's a 3-round fight because I think he can keep up that explosiveness
Right.
if it's up for 3 rounds. If it was a 5-round fight, I would have Wonder Boy by far.
Okay. Also, another thing, I'm going to use the restroom real quick before Randy goes on. You should have your own podcast called Randy's Rant. That's what it should be called, but it's only about Connor. It's only about Connor. So before
started about Connor.
I know. So
Should I get my pick first or no?
you can give your pick. I'm just going to use the restroom real quick.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
Yep.
So yeah, I'm going Wonder Boy as well. Mostly because I'm a fan of Wonder Boy. I feel like I've been hating on everybody in this podcast. I love Wonder Boy. I don't just hate people for no reason at random. I like Wonder Boy. I want to see the era of Wonder Boy. I really think it's his time. And I think if he wins this fight, it'll start because it's a co-main event. There's a lot of spotlight on it. I hope it then helps his career go further. But I think he's one of the most interesting fighters to watch. I think, again, like you said, his takedown defense is really good. He's unorthodox. I think he has it. And I think he's going to be prepared for what's the other guy's name again? I just forgot it.
Gilbert Burns.
I think he's going to be prepared for Gilbert Burns to try to collapse time that 3-round fight. And I think he's going to really try to gas him and pace him and draw him out. So while it would be better for 5 rounds, I think you could still pull that strategy off in 3. So I definitely think Thompson for this one.
Yeah, and I think people sleep on Thompson too.
Yeah, they
And I
do.
think
He's such
They
a nice
forget.
guy. He's such a nice guy, so people don't think
Yes.
he's like
Exactly.
a killer. You know?
He's the NMFer, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he's fought some bangers, and he's fighting the pinnacle, man. And
Yep.
people sleep on Thompson, and he's won those fights too.
I agree 100%.
Yeah, I take it you chose Wonder Boy,
Yes.
Randy. Okay,
Yeah.
Good choice, friend. Good choice.
We're
right,
about
pal.
to not be friends in like 3 seconds. So
Okay, the moment of the hour, the moment of this entire podcast. The biggest reason why I wanted Randy on this podcast with us, because Randy, obviously, I'd say we're acquaintances. We're not,
for sure.
we're not best friends, but the one thing is I always make sure to pay attention to your Facebook feed when it's Conor McGregor fighting.
yeah.
Every single time that I get on Facebook and I'm like, I wonder what Randy said today about Conor McGregor. So I'm excited to hear how this one goes. So we've got Conor McGregor versus Dustin Poirier.
Yeah.
3. Obviously 1-1. Original fight, the first fight at 145. Conor dropped Dustin, which was obviously a part of the rise to his stardom. And then Dustin goes up to 155, and he, arguably right now, Islam Makhachev. That's his name, by the way. I just remembered it. The 155 or the Dagestani, the other Dagestani 155er. But Dustin goes on this tear. And, he had a couple setbacks. Like, he got knocked out by Michael Johnson with a beautiful left straight.
Michael
And then-
Johnson's hands are nice.
Yeah, he
Yes.
clipped Khabib, and Khabib got rocked too.
Yeah.
So before he's like, you must tap. This is mine.
I deserve this.
I deserve this. You know this. But I think right now Dustin Poirier is arguably one of the greatest 155ers, like just all around in total. Even if he hasn't been the unanimous champ or the unified champ or the undisputed champ, whatever, I still think that he's just that good, and I'm so torn because like I want to pick with my heart because I want Dustin to win because he's such a likable guy. He's a nice guy. Watching that press conference, I was like, that wasn't even a good press conference because I just felt bad. Like, because he's a nice guy and he's like, no. Whereas in their first fight, he talked shit back to Conor. All he could say in this one, he's like, dude, like, you're way better than that. Like, you've talked way better shit in the past than you just did. It's like, that shit's weak. And I just think that even though he's in a better frame of mind and I think he's the better fighter overall, I still think that Conor's going to catch him. Conor's going to catch him with a straight left, and he's going to drop him and he's going to knock him out. And then Conor's going to fight Charles Oliveira and get absolutely fucking annihilated. So there you go, Randy. I said something positive that you can agree with.
Yeah.
But I just think this is bad boy Conor. This is no family around Conor.
Okay, so
So I'm going Conor straight left, drops him and wins the fight. I'm going Conor.
Right.
Those calf kicks aren't even going to be an issue this fight. I think Conor's going to land calf kicks on Dustin. I don't think that's going to be in Dustin's game plan. And also, Conor is not doing an 85% boxing camp like he was because he was overlooking Dustin so much to fight fucking Manny Pacquiao. Dude, that's the reason why you lost. You weren't focused. So that's my 2 cents on that.
Almost everything you said, I agree with. This is what's telling to me is that Dustin's only a 130 favorite, so, and if you look at Vegas, they don't put those numbers out there just for the fuck of it.
Right.
They're really good at what they do. So that's telling me that this fight is a lot closer than most people think it's going to be. And even though that press conference, McGregor seemed a little bit forced, it didn't seem natural like it did against Diaz or Poirier of old.
Mm-hmm.
It did seem a little bit forced.
Or the entire fucking press conference when he, was shitting on Jeremy Stevens and shitting on Chad Mendez and shitting on Donald Cerrone. Yeah.
Yeah. And a part of me think that does matter. And then a part of me thinks, well, as long as he's getting a good fucking training camp in, a full training camp with full focus, then I think McGregor stands a chance.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck, dude. Right. I'm going to go with Poirier.
God, what?
I'm going to go with Poirier. Here's the reason. I just think that he's the better fucking fighter, man.
There's no doubt he is.
I think he's more focused. I think this means more to him. I think that he comes out and McGregor's not going to all this talking shit. It's not going to get into his head. I think that he's going to win this fight. I think he fucking knocks him out in the second round. I really do. And McGregor could win, dude. He could win.
You're not going to go 1, 2, 3 like Conor won the first one in the first, Dustin won the second one in the second. You're not going to go third?
I think it's knockout second round. Poirier.
TKO or KO?
KO.
Whoa. Fuck, Randy would be so wrecked.
Dude, Dustin's hands at 155 is so fucking underrated.
Yeah.
He can fucking hit. And McGregor's look fucking suspect when getting hit by hard, or people that can hit hard.
The one thing that I will say that kind of made me like very nervous was Conor said, because he did an interview with Ariel Helwani, and he said that every shot's a kill shot. You're going to fucking tire yourself out. So I'm not backing out of my goddamn pick. I'm picking Conor, okay? But still, you're saying every shot's a kill shot, and that makes me nervous. So
yeah. And then the reason that I want McGregor to win, even though I love Dustin, is god damn, it's good for the sport.
Yeah.
You know, but I just, with my heart, I feel like.
Yeah, Randy, do you not care about the sport? Do you not care about the sport?
He's good for the sport like Logan Paul is good for boxing. I agree. Lots of people are talking about boxing. You can't, I'm not wrong.
Yeah. This one's really tough for me to choose because I do love Connor so much. I think he's the most entertaining guy in the sport by far. Whether you hate him or you love him, you gotta watch it because you're looking for something. You know, that's why he's the highest selling pay-per-view guy of all fucking time.
Yeah. Most pre-orders for a UFC in history.
Yeah. Like, you're either paying to watch him
win or lose,
or fucking lose. You know, so like, I think that's great for the sport. But Dustin's such a good dude, and he's actually like fucking legit. Like, he's beat Justin Gaethje, Eddie Alvarez. Like, he had war with these dudes, and like, I would love to see Conor fight some of these guys. Yeah,
he put Khabib in the most danger he's ever been in with that guillotine.
Yeah, and it's just, he's really, really good, and I think that he should win this fight. But somehow Conor McGregor does thrive under these high pressure, high light situations. And I think that has, like, that's a factor in this fight because there's, like, Dustin, he capitalized on that last time. You know what I mean?
There was no
like,
crowd there.
He wanted revenge and all this shit. Yeah, there's going to be a crowd. There's going to be fans. There's going to be everybody in fucking Ireland's going to be screaming at this shit. Like, I think Connor's got this. And it's so hard for me to choose this.
I know. That's where I'm at too.
I feel like I got Connor in this one. I hope he gets it done early because the longer this fight goes, the worse it is for him.
Also, Connor has 0 ground game.
Yeah.
You know, so if it goes anywhere near the ground,
it's because he quit playing touch butt in the park. That's why.
I think that's going to be a big part of Dustin's game plan in this fight. I think he's going to. I think
he got a fucking takedown on Connor in the first minute of the fight.
Connor popped back up quick.
Yeah,
but I think that's going to play a lot more into this. I think he's going to do that. Like, he's going to try to keep doing that and tire Connor out, and I think that's what's going to eventually probably lead him to win. But I'm still choosing Connor.
All right, Randy's rant. Let's hear it. Let's do it.
So obviously you know where I'm going to stand here, but I will give Connor some credit because there is some credit too. Like you said, right? I'll watch every Conor McGregor fight, even though I hate him, because it is good for the sport, right?
It's like Floyd Mayweather.
Exactly. Yeah. I don't like Connor. Connor to me is Ronda Rousey. He's a one-trick pony that got super hyped, but now everybody knows his game. They all know it now. They know the shit talk, so they ignore it. They know the straight left that we talked about, right? So I think his time is done. So here's my prediction. I think he loses. I don't know if he's going to get knocked out. That's bold. I don't know if he's going to get knocked out because as a man, I've hated Connor since the second I saw him. I've never liked him. So I seriously, one of the guys that trained at my club when I had it back in the day, he walked in a Conor McGregor shirt. I'm like, you can't train here. I didn't actually come out, but I've never liked him. I think his career was very guided, but good things. Connor used to be hungry. He's not hungry anymore. No. Connor used to talk really good shit. Now he just says the things that sounds like he's talking good shit. I don't think his heart is in this anymore, and that's what made Connor of old good. I don't think he has those traits anymore, to be honest. So I'm definitely going Poirier because I think he has that still. I think he's very good. He is the better, more talented fighter. And my prediction for this is retirement 86 from Connor if he loses. How many times he's retired now? 7 or 8, or probably 2 or 3. I'm over exaggerating. Yeah. So I think if he loses this, I think that's going to be the gloves in the ring situation. So I'm really hoping Poirier wins, so I never have to hear his name again unless he's beating up old people in bars.
No, well, is that your problem? Is because you teach self-defense and all these old people are getting their asses kicked by Connor? Is that your real issue with him?
What's one of them? He put glass in somebody's eye.
I'm kidding.
He's not
kidding.
Yeah.
I'm fucking kidding,
Randy.
Randy.
Like you need to start a company in Ireland.
Yeah, sounds like you need to move to Ireland, Randy.
Oh yeah, he kicked my ass for sure. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying I'm way bigger than him, but anyways, I just think, honestly, I just think if this was Connor 3 years ago? Sure, but it's not. And we all have to realize it's not.
Mhm.
Everybody knows his game. Everybody knows his shit. Everybody knows his plan. And I don't think he's trained. His camp has switched things up enough to really throw any big like shocks at Poirier. I just don't.
So
I don't think he trained on the ground like he should, ever.
Agreed.
Ever. And that's
Well,
why I just
you know
can't
what?
take Connor that serious.
You know what
Yeah.
blows my mind though is that one of his main training partners is Gunnar Nelson, who is a world-class grappler.
Yeah.
Gunnar Nelson is fucking good on the ground, and that's one of his main training partners. So it's like, and Dylan Dennis is another. I can't stand Dylan Dennis, but he's another one
jiu-jitsu
that
is legit.
yeah. So, for me, I think in this fight, another reason why I'm picking Connor is because, like, it's kind of scary to think, like, where does he go from here if he loses? Like, he's like, yeah, don't get me wrong. He even said in the press conference, like, yeah, that fight with Nate's always going to be there. Like, like, we will do that fight. If you lose this fight,
that opportunity
like,
is probably out the window.
Well,
Exactly.
not
Nobody's
even
gonna care.
Yeah, but at the same time, like, people are going to care because it's Nate versus Connor and it's a trilogy, and people want to, they just love trilogy fights. But for me, I think there's just, if Connor wants to stay relevant in combat sports, if he wants to be that athlete that stays in the top, the top even 5 of the Forbes list for athletes, like, dude, you need to. The lifestyle that you live is too luxurious for you to not be winning, like, to not be fighting. But who the fuck are you going to fight? Like, I would love to see him versus Michael Chandler. I would love to see him versus Justin Gaethje. I would love to see him versus Islam Makhachev. I would love, like, hell, I'd love to see him fight. Yeah, but you got to fucking win. Like, if you don't win, that's the uncertainty of not knowing what's going to come after this. If you lose, should be a motivating factor for Connor. Obviously, the money, he said, I have an addiction with spending money, or I can't remember. He had it some fucking quote where basically he's like, I have an addiction to spending money and an unhealthy obsession with making money, or something to that.
Sure. Yeah.
And it's like, well, you can't be Floyd Mayweather where you got to come out of retirement once a year to fight a big name just so you can make 120 mil and against a fucking YouTuber. So unless Connor wants to fucking fight Logan Paul next or Jake Paul, then by all means.
Well, and what got McGregor to where he was his mouth.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I mean, in his left hand, right?
Yeah.
Mouth in his left hand. But like Randy said, everybody knows that. They're not going to fall for that shit anymore. You have to win your fucking fights.
Yeah. I think, it's everything you're saying is ringing true, obviously. And I'm even trying to take my just regular hatred away. Again, as a guy who's never liked Connor, you can never count him out. You can never count that guy out because he always has that left hand. You just got to touch it with it. You're going to sleep. I just don't think he's the same guy he was. And I don't think he has the ability now to beat Poirier. I just don't.
Dustin is also
Dustin's a year-round fight
Yeah.
training guy. Connor is not training year-round. He may be like training, like keeping in shape, but that dude's not in the gym working his fucking skills year-round. He's
honing his craft, as you would say.
Yeah, every day. Like, he's not doing that. He's got businesses to run. He's got other things to worry about.
Exactly.
And Dustin's in the gym grinding.
And he's at one of the best gyms in the fucking country or in the world.
Every day that dude's out there grinding his ass off to get better and to be the champ. And Connor's not doing that. And that's what scares me about this fight. Like, the more I talk and the more I hear, the more like I lean towards Dustin.
Yeah.
I just really want Connor to win. And it makes me
I want it, and I guarantee you UFC wants him to win because it's what's best for business.
Oh yeah.
Like, in the grand
Well,
scheme
that's why
of
they're
things.
giving him this fight.
Yeah.
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 Exactly.
But the thing is Dustin was smart because Dustin knows that there are no other big money fights that nowhere near McGregor, because if he beats McGregor on Saturday, there's probably not going to be another McGregor payday for anybody in the 155-pound division, because I guarantee you Connor's probably going to fight Nate at 170 if they end up ever fighting again.
Right.
So
Yeah.
because why the fuck would Connor want to cut you know,
Dustin. Dustin's smart for taking this fight first. And
That's what I'm
taking
saying,
the last one
Yeah.
because he passed up a title shot to fight Conor to get a bigger payday again than he's gonna get even if he wins the championship belt.
the title's
and
always
wins his
gonna
next fight.
the title's always gonna be there.
Yeah, but he's gonna make more money
yeah.
from this fight alone than he would probably from his next two, even if he was
combined.
champ. You know what I mean? So he's smart because he's thinking, hey, the title's gonna be there, and when I beat him again and get this paycheck, then I can go for gold. You know what I mean? Like, there's no reason to pass up the cash.
Exactly, and it's a leverage position too. He beat McGregor twice in a row. Like you can leverage that for tons of stuff, right?
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, it's a smart move, business wise, 100%.
The one reason more than anything I'm not picking McGregor is because I learned my lesson in the past with Johnny Hendricks, who also fell in love with that left hand. He was good at a lot of things.
Yeah, he was a really good wrestler, though, which is what
it was based.
But he never fucking used it because his left hand. But
because the left hand.
Yeah,
and once you fall in love with that left hand, that's all she wrote.
Yeah, it's true.
You become a one-trick pony.
He beat GSP. God damn it, Randy! He beat him.
Who did?
Johnny Hendricks.
Oh yeah, whatever.
His record. I'm just gonna bring up every fucking Canadian.
Canadians are not. We're not a monolith. I don't know George. Actually, I do have trade with George St. Pierre. Actually, I do know him. But in this case, it's irrelevant.
Yeah. I just think, like, fuck. I almost want to just end the podcast because I'm so like now I keep going and they're like, oh well, Dustin does seem convincing now, but no. I'm sticking with Conor. I'm fucking man of my word.
I gotta stick to like I do think Dustin's gonna win this, but I am choosing Conor. You know what I mean? Like,
well, also
I'm going against everything that tells me opposite.
Because for me, the UFC is, as we said, the UFC is better with Conor in it because there are no other fights that I'm like, man, I cannot wait for the fucking Surreal Gone and Derek Lewis fight. I already told you guys I'm dreading that. And that's a main event. The co-main event is Amanda Nunes versus Juliana Pena. Sorry, that like Amanda Nunes is gonna do what Amanda Nunes does. She's gonna demolish. So but Conor McGregor fight cards, I'm like, even if that's the only good fight on the card, it's a Conor McGregor card nonetheless. And with people back, oh my God, I cannot wait.
If Conor wins this fight, I'm watching the post-fight press conference because if he goes old school Conor and means it, you know, he's got his confidence is an all-time high. He just starts Dustin. He comes in, he's like, "Ooh, all you motherfuckers are gonna get it," you know?
Yeah.
And he starts talking that shit, then I'll be like, "Oh shit, he's back."
Yeah.
But until then, you know, we'll see.
I still think Charles Oliveira whoops the shit out of him. Charles Oliveira, it's not going to be like when he took Michael Chandler's back and Michael Chandler got out of it. It's going to be like Oliveira takes Conor's back and then puts him to sleep and then holds on for like 5 extra seconds just because, you know, he fucking wants to.
I'm going to watch the post-fight press conference if Conor loses for one thing only. And I'm trying to speak it into existence to take away that sting of maybe Conor retiring or not knowing what's going to happen with him if he loses. They've got to announce Justin Gaethje versus Michael Chandler.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like they got to announce it so that it takes the sting away. They're like, oh, sorry, Conor, but hey guys, we got this fucking exciting fight that everybody wants to see. Like,
yeah,
please
make that. Hey, how about we just do an interim title shot?
Yeah, there you go.
Charles Oliveira just won the title 3 months ago. And we make it Michael Chandler versus Justin Gaethje.
Hey, that's a fight I'm actually excited about, so I'd be cool with it.
Yeah. I'd be like, yeah, fuck it. Might as well.
Yeah. It was like, if that's the only way we're going to get these two to fight each other, fuck it. Like, let's see it.
Yeah. Ah, man. Hell of a podcast, guys. Hell of a podcast.
That was a fun one.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
It was nice meeting you, man.
We'd love to have you back sometime. Sure. Even if it's not a Conor McGregor card, because who knows, we might never get one of those again after Saturday.
I hate lots of fighters. You heard me on this.
But anyways, yeah. That was 8 episodes in, guys. It's crazy that we've already done 8. Thanks, man. Yeah. Meanwhile, you're on episode fucking. I went on your YouTube and I was like, Jesus Christ.
Oh, so many.
So many episodes.
I like
But-
to talk. So
But,
I do.
but the nice thing is that your episodes are like 20, 30 minutes. Our episodes are, this was by far
long.
going to be one of our longer ones.
Yeah.
But we progressively it's shrunk significantly
Good.
over the last few weeks. But I knew this one was going to be a long one because one, we had a special guest. Number two, it's a Connor fight, so we're going to want to BS a little bit more about it. And then it's just fun to shoot the shit and BS. But I think
Yeah, I
that's
really
it.
enjoyed it, man. If you ever feel like coming back, let us know.
Oh, I'd
Yeah.
love to. This
You're
was
more
super
welcome.
fun.
Yeah.
I don't get to talk this stuff very often. What I
Mhm.
normally talk is like self-defense,
Self-defense.
stuff and martial arts, but not like
Self-defense.
not this. And this is like this is my passion hobby side of things. I don't get to talk about much because my daughter couldn't care less. So I need somebody to talk to. So thanks for having me. It was very fun.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. And that's going to do it for us, guys. You guys enjoy the fights, and Randy, stay in touch, man. Because like I said, we'd love to have you back. Okay.
Sweet.
All right.
Later, boys.
See you guys later. Have a good one. Take it easy.
Bye.
Bye.